The factory that builds Ukraine's most important armoured vehicle nearly shut down because nobody wanted what it made. For almost a decade, the Malyshev plant in Kharkiv assembled 8-wheeled personnel carriers that sat in storage yards while the company bled money from a catastrophic contract collapse worth nearly $500 million. Executives faced criminal investigations, production lines went cold, workers left, and then Russia invaded. The vehicle that had been rejected, returned, investigated and written off became the single most critical piece of domestic armour keeping Ukrainian infantry alive when Western aid could not arrive fast enough. The BTR-4 weighs between 17 and 18 tons depending on the variant. It rides on 8 independently suspended wheels, carries a 30mm autocannon in a remote weapons station, launches barrier anti-tank guided missiles, and swims across rivers under its own power at 10 km per hour. It seats 10. 3 crew and 7 infantry in the rear compartment. On a paved road it reaches 80 km per hour. Off-road, across the mud and shattered terrain of eastern Ukraine, it still manages 40. This vehicle has fought in every major Ukrainian ground engagement since 2014, from the first desperate defense of Sloviansk to the grinding battles around Pokrovsk more than a decade later. 5 nations bought it, 1 nearly destroyed the company that built it, and 1 war turned it from an embarrassment into a symbol of national survival. The Malyshev Factory sits in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, a sprawling Soviet-era industrial complex that once built T-34 tanks for the Red Army during World War II, the same gates that rolled out the most produced tank in history. To understand why the BTR-4 exists, you need to understand the problem Ukraine faced after 1991. When the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine inherited one of the largest armoured vehicle fleets on the planet, thousands of tanks, hundreds of armoured personnel carriers, entire factories built to maintain them. But every vehicle in that fleet was a Soviet design. The engines, the optics, the fire control systems, the weapons stations, all of it depended on supply chains that now ran through a foreign country, Russia. The BTR-80, the backbone Soviet 8-wheeled carrier, was a 1960s design. Ukraine had hundreds of them, but spare parts came from Russian factories, upgrades came through Russian programs, and if relations with Moscow ever deteriorated, Ukraine would be operating an armoured fleet it could not maintain, modernise, or replace. In the late 1990s, the Kharkiv Morozov Machine Building Design Bureau, known by its Ukrainian initials KMDB, began work on something no post-Soviet state outside Russia had attempted: a fully indigenous 8-wheeled armoured personnel carrier, designed, engineered, and manufactured entirely within Ukraine. The project that became the BTR-4 started under the leadership of Lieutenant General Mikhailo Borysyuk, one of the most experienced armoured vehicle designers in the former Soviet world. The same bureau that had created the T-64 tank decades earlier now turned its expertise toward wheeled armour. The first prototype appeared around 2006. The design was ambitious. Unlike the cramped Soviet BTR-80, the BTR-4 used a front-engine layout that placed the 3TD diesel engine at the front of the hull, producing 500 horsepower. This pushed the troop compartment to the rear with a proper exit ramp, letting soldiers dismount without running through enemy fire to climb out of roof hatches. That single change, the rear ramp, represented a doctrinal break from every Soviet-era carrier Ukraine had ever operated. The weapons station was equally modern. The BAU 23x2 module mounted a ZTM 130mm autocannon alongside a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. In later variants, it could carry barrier laser-guided anti-tank missiles with a range of 5 kilometers. The station was remotely operated, meaning no crew member sat exposed in a turret. The gunner controlled everything from inside the hull through digital screens. Armour protection was rated to resist 14.5mm heavy machine gun rounds across the frontal arc and 7.62mm fire from all sides. Against mines, the V-shaped hull offered some protection, though not to the standard of purpose-built mine-resistant vehicles. It was a compromise, enough protection to survive the opening moments of an ambush, not enough to sit still under sustained anti-armour fire. Ukraine had built its first truly domestic armoured vehicle. The problem was finding someone to buy it. Before we get into where this vehicle actually fought and why it nearly bankrupted its own factory, if you are enjoying this deep dive into military vehicle history, hit subscribe. It takes 1 second and it helps this channel keep producing these films. In 2009, Iraq signed a contract worth approximately $457 million for 420 BTR-4E vehicles, the export variant. It was the largest single-arms deal in Ukrainian history at that time. For the Malyshev factory, it was salvation. The plant had been struggling since independence, operating at a fraction of its Soviet-era capacity. The Iraqi contract promised years of steady production and enough revenue to modernize the facility. The first vehicles shipped. Iraq received roughly 88 BTR-4s between 2009 and 2012, and then the deal collapsed. Iraqi officials alleged quality control failures. Some vehicles reportedly arrived with defects. Corruption allegations surfaced on both sides of the contract. Baghdad suspended further deliveries. Ukrainian prosecutors launched investigations into the deal. Lawsuits followed. The remaining vehicles sat in Kharkiv, completed or partially completed with no buyer. The financial damage was catastrophic. The Malyshev Factory had tooled up for mass production, hired additional workers, purchased new machining equipment, and restructured its entire workflow around a 400-vehicle order. Now it had fewer than 90 confirmed sales and a legal dispute that would consume years. The Ukrainian State Defense Export Agency, Ukroboronprom, faced international embarrassment. Confidence in Ukrainian arms exports cratered across every potential market. Smaller export orders trickled in. Nigeria ordered a batch for its counterinsurgency operations. Kazakhstan took a small number. Indonesia and Thailand expressed interest but never signed contracts on the scale Kharkiv needed. The factory that had built tanks for Stalin during the bloodiest war in human history was now assembling vehicles at a rate of single digits per year, its vast shop floors echoing with the absence of orders. Then came 2014. Russia annexed Crimea in March. By April, Russian-backed separatists had seized government buildings across the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian military, neglected for 2 decades, scrambled to respond with whatever equipment it could field. The BTR-4 went to war. The first combat deployments came around Sloviansk in the spring of 2014. Ukrainian forces used BTR-4s in the initial attempts to recapture separatist-held towns. The results were mixed. Crews reported mechanical reliability issues. Some vehicles suffered breakdowns. The remote weapon station, sophisticated on paper, proved temperamental in field conditions. At least one BTR-4 was destroyed in the early fighting around the Donetsk airport, footage of which circulated widely online. But the vehicle also demonstrated what made it fundamentally different from the Soviet carriers it was replacing. The rear ramp worked. Troops could dismount under fire without the suicidal exposure that the BTR-80 demanded. The 30mm autocannon outgunned anything the separatist infantry had in their early engagements. And the digital fire control, when it functioned, gave Ukrainian gunners accuracy at ranges the older vehicles could not match. Between 2015 and 2021, KMDB addressed the problems the Donbass fighting had exposed. Reliability improvements went into the drivetrain. The weapon station received software updates. A new variant, the BTR-4 MV1, incorporated additional mine protection and improved electronics. Production continued at low rates. The Ukrainian military ordered small batches. The vehicle improved quietly while the frozen conflict in the east ground on. February 24, 2022 changed everything. Russia launched a full-scale invasion across multiple axes. Kharkiv, the city where the Malyshev Factory sits, came under Russian artillery bombardment within hours. Russian armoured columns advanced to within kilometres of the factory gates. For the first weeks of the war, producing anything at the plant was nearly impossible. But Kharkiv held. Ukrainian forces pushed Russian ground units back from the city's outskirts by April, and as the front line stabilized, the Malyshev factory began doing something remarkable. It resumed production under wartime conditions. Workers returned to the assembly lines while air raid sirens sounded overhead. The factory that had nearly gone bankrupt building vehicles nobody wanted was now producing them for a nation fighting for its existence. The BTR-4 became one of the most visible vehicles of the war. Drone footage from 2022 and 2023 showed BTR-4s engaging Russian positions across the Eastern Front. One widely shared clip captured a BTR-4 using its 30mm cannon to suppress a Russian trench line while infantry advanced behind it. Another showed a BTR-4 surviving a near miss from an anti-tank guided missile, the crew reversing out of the kill zone and continuing to fight. Ukrainian mechanized brigades deployed BTR-4s across nearly every active front. In the brutal defense of Sieverodonetsk, during the summer of 2022, BTR-4s provided fire support for infantry units fighting building to building. During the Kharkiv counter-offensive that September, they carried troops in the rapid advance that recaptured thousands of square kilometers in days. In the prolonged attritional fighting across the Donetsk region through 2023 and 2024, they operated alongside Western-supplied Strykers and Bradleys, filling the gaps in unit equipment tables where foreign deliveries had not yet arrived or were insufficient in numbers. For months during the critical early phase of the full-scale war, domestically produced BTR-4s were the only modern wheeled armour many Ukrainian units had, losses were significant. Open-source tracking documented between 145 and 154 BTR-4s destroyed, damaged or captured by mid-2025. In a war dominated by drones, mines and anti-tank missiles, no armoured vehicle survives in large numbers, but the BTR-4 kept being produced and kept being deployed because Ukraine had no alternative domestic source of modern wheeled armour. On paper, the Russian BTR-82A looks competitive. It carries a similar 30mm autocannon and is lighter, but it retains the Soviet layout with roof exit hatches instead of a rear ramp, and its fire control system is a generation behind the BTR-4's digital suite. The Russian Boomerang, designed as a true next-generation replacement, has never entered mass production despite being announced over a decade ago. Russia's own armoured vehicle modernisation stalled, while Ukraine's, born from crisis, delivered a functional product. Against Western equivalents, the BTR-4 is not in the same class. The American Stryker is better protected, carries more sophisticated communications equipment, and benefits from decades of combat-proven refinement in Iraq and Afghanistan. The German Boxer is heavier, more modular, and built to a NATO protection standard the BTR-4 cannot match. The Finnish Patria AMV carries thicker armour, superior mine resistance, and has been exported to more than a dozen countries. On any comparison chart, the BTR-4 finishes last among modern Western 8-wheeled carriers, but none of those vehicles were available to Ukraine in February 2022. The BTR-4 was. It was there, built in Kharkiv by Ukrainian workers, using Ukrainian steel and Ukrainian engines, from Ukrainian designs. In a war where logistics and industrial availability determine survival, as much as raw technical superiority, being present on the battlefield mattered more than being superior on a specification sheet. The name Bucephalus was chosen deliberately, Alexander the Great's warhorse, the animal that carried a conqueror across the known world. For Ukraine's defense industry, the BTR-4 carries a similar weight of symbolism. It is proof that a post-Soviet state can design, build, and field its own armoured vehicle without depending on Moscow. That proof cost billions in failed contracts, years of near bankruptcy, and hundreds of destroyed vehicles in the most intense conventional war in Europe since 1945. The BTR-4 is not the best 8-wheeled armoured vehicle in the world. Its armour will not stop a modern anti-tank missile. Its electronics are not as refined as a Boxer or a Stryker. Its early production quality nearly killed the factory that made it. But it exists. It fights. It is still being built in a city that has been under bombardment for over 3 years, and every BTR-4 that rolls off the Malyshev production line is one more vehicle that Ukraine did not have to wait for, beg for, or negotiate for. That is not a specification. That is sovereignty. And in this war, sovereignty is what keeps an army in the field.